Welcome, everyone. As you saw, I have here 10 candles that have been lit. And these 10 candles are here to honor the people who have passed and who continue to suffer. And I will read some of their testimonies for you right now. And as I do this, I will be handing each person a candle to hold. Muhammad al-Attani, an 11-year-old boy from North Gaza, says, "The animal fodder in the bread is very bad. The water is polluted. My stomach hurts. I had no choice." Yaqub from the Kutupalong camp in Bangladesh says, "I had no choice but to leave the land where I was born, which is Myanmar. Heading to Bangladesh took all our energy. We crossed mountains, muddy lands, and swam across streams. While fleeing, we were starving for many days. We ate banana leaves, drank water from canals. We didn't have any money. A woman in a displaced tent in Gaza, in northern Gaza, says, "I only have access to flour and I bake bread with it. I put salt on it so my children don't eat it empty. A Rohingya refugee from Cox's Bazar says, "A few days after our arrival, shelters were built for us out of cloth and bamboo. Now we live here in the refugee camps. My twins are 5 years old now. It has been 5 years of living in distress. We have shelter, but beyond that, we do not have much for our children. We depend on food assistance and worry about what to feed them and if it's enough. We worry about how to clothe them and how to educate them. I cannot provide what they need as I have no money. Sometimes I eat less than I should because in my heart I want to sell the extra food to buy my children something. This is how we are living, half-fed. Otherwise, I cannot buy my children anything." Ziad Abdelhafiz Ahmed Sawan, a 53-year-old farmer, married with 10 children, is an unemployed resident of Emmatin in the Khaqiyya district of the West Bank in Palestine. His testimony was given by Atif Abu on January 2009. "I have a few plots of land that I inherited from my father. About 6 years ago, settlers established Gilad farm about 2 kilometers from one of my plots. Since then, they have attacked farmers in the area and torched and cut trees. Last spring, they set fire to orchards in the area, and the fire spread to my land. As a result, I lost many olive trees and a lot of money during the harvest season. I filed a complaint, but nothing came out of it." Atia Rahman, a farmer from Haripur in Bangladesh, says, "From higher land, where he has been displaced, we do not get even a month's worth of food. A crying young girl from Gaza says, "We eat za'atar on its own without bread. We're missing everything. We miss white bread. We miss everything." Krishani Ranima Begum, a 60-year-old farmer of the Nayabari village of Singar, says, "Nature no longer behaves as it used to. A Palestinian female prisoner recounts on her days in prison. A group of women prisoners detained on the same night underwent a strip search upon entering the cell, and after being taken out one by one, they tied our hands and legs. Malika, a survivor of sexual violence during the 1971 war, recounts her times during the 1971 war by saying, "22 of us would lie like corpses in that room." To those of you who have candles right now, I ask you to blow them out. May this smoke signal their passing in this life and the hereafter. I would like to all ask you for a moment of silence, to honor those lives and to honor the lives of people who continue to suffer in Gaza, here, and elsewhere in the world. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. صدق الله العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه لراجعون. To Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi laraji'un. To Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. People of Dhaka, people of Bangladesh, I have come to your lands as a foreigner I tread. With me I have brought parcels of bread and testimonies from a people who have long been dead, or testimonies from a people whose lives are hanging by a thread, waiting to be fed. I wish they could be with us, but I am here to share their stories instead. People of Dhaka, people of Bangladesh, I have come to your lands as a foreigner I tread. I wish the people who you have heard the testimonies of were with us instead, but I am here to share their stories. I am here to share their stories and mine. I have come to talk to you about Palestine while living in the West. Are you still impressed? I'm just a human being under a lot of performance stress. I spent nights and days working on this piece, working on and memorizing this piece, trying to present myself authentically, three-quarter Palestinian, born in the UAE. I even bought sand from the Arabian desert with me. As it slips between my fingers, it evokes memories. It evokes memories of the streets, of the palm trees, of the heat of the burning sun. It reminds me of where my life begun as an anxious child unable to have fun. And I have come here today to give you all a show, to perform a sacred ritual. This ritual is going to be multifaceted. I am going to invoke the snake spirit, the snake being the earthly manifestation of the mighty dragon. It represents the shedding of old ways, as well as the removal of toxins from one's body. And I have brought here with me my tarot cards. As I invoke the journey of the fool's journey of political awakening and towards the revolution ahead. The fool resembles new beginnings, change, innocence, and intuition. And so with this being said, I would like to pull out the first card from the tarot. And this question that it's supposed to answer is, what does a beautiful society look like to me? So I would like us all to take a minute to close our eyes and to really think about the question, what does a beautiful society look like to me? What does it look like? Beyond nation states, beyond governments, people coexisting with one another. Is there suffering? Is there peace? What does peace look like to you? What does a beautiful society look like to you? What does this beautiful society make you feel? How do you feel right now in this space? And how would you like to feel? What would you like out of this ritual? How do you want to come out of this ritual? I have set the intention into us coming here together today in order to arrive to this journey of political awakening and to think about the revolution. political upheaval, chaos. And the first question to answer, what does the revolution need, is being able to imagine, to truly imagine what it is that we want out of the revolution. I will now pull out a card. You can now slowly open your eyes as I read out the first card, the Four of Wands, harmony. When our resilience arrives, we are ready to fight, beyond the triggers that pose our motive and into the minefield where we can harness our best selves. This is not the time to lose traction over privilege guilt. It's the time to remind yourself that you have arrived, and you are strong enough to simultaneously own your privilege and your struggles, while using your resources to fortify your home, your family, and the world as it crumbles around us. The Four of Wands stands between four pillars, basking in survival and joy, being embraced by chosen family and natural spirits. She made it this far and is now eager to rise above. The Four of Wands represents a window of time where we are grounded. We are home, and we can finally enjoy the fruits of our labor. Our survival is evident in our accomplishments and our sanctuaries. The Four of Wands reminds us that today is always the first day of the rest of our lives. The Four of Wands asks us to do as it does. Hold on to the breath of enthusiasm and use it both to offer and embody inspiration. What does a beautiful society look like to me? One that is harmonious. The Four of Wands watches the world crumbling around it as it plays the harmonica and is balanced in between two candles. A beautiful society is one that is harmonious. The second question the cards are asking is, how am I complicit in injustice? I would like you to take a minute to think about this. How are we all complicit in injustice? The second card, the Moon, introspection, our shadow side. The Moon is a major arcana card, which means it is a card with very big energy. And it reads, illusion is a projection of trauma, past suffering, and the idiosyncrasies that hide in the secret vessels of our subconscious. Our demons, our shadow, and our traumas breathe life into our insecurities. Our delusions, they dance around our equilibriums, normalizing our self-hate, identifying magic as unbelievable. The Moon is believable. The Moon validates magic and sustains miracles. She reminds us that the journey to understanding our shadow is a therapeutic retreat. Our shadow meaning here also the question, how is it that we are complicit in injustice? The Moon asks you to list your fears, your impossible dreams, and your restricted expressions. Consider them and meditate on their roots. Understanding these roots will give you power as you learn to differentiate intuition from anxiety. The Moon asks you to believe in the unthinkable possibilities of your drive as it overcomes fear and promotes radical vigilance. She asks you to channel the High Priestess and nurture your third eye. As much as the validation of others can remind us to believe in ourselves, our own body's ability to read intuition is in us. We all have it, and we all deserve to understand it. The third question asks, what am I most afraid of right now? When it comes to thinking about a beautiful society, imagining a beautiful society, what is it that we're all afraid of right now? What is it that we are most afraid of right now? Is it the authorities, the police state, our own selves, our own potential, losing our privileges, losing our loved ones? What is it that we're most afraid of right now? The third card is the Ten of Swords, and it indicates ruin and rock bottom. This is the final straw, and the Ten of Swords is exhausted from counting. They have lost themselves over and over, in the name of love, self-worth, trauma, post-traumatic stress, healing the body from abuse, healing the mind from manipulation and unwarranted non-stop loss. The 10 knows healing, they studied it and have been offered power, candles, bracelets, and messages from their ancestors through the local prophets who run their favorite botanica. They are listening, but they are stuck, proving to their community that while they have known power, they have known pain they don't deserve. The 10 of Swords asks you to trust your pain, your source of fear, over your suffering, and own your suffering. Don't deny yourself the care you deserve from self and the validation from your community. That validation is the root of safety. The 10 of Swords believes now is the time to ask your people for that safety. And so what the cards are offering right now is community, is a leeway to confronting our fears and to really also look into what protection do we have around us in order to also understand those fears better. In order to grow together, the cards are saying that we need community. I will continue the readings later, but I forgot to introduce myself. Let me unveil this Bedouin mask. Hello, my name is Salma, and like I said before, I'm here to perform a ritual together. A ritual into political awakening and into the revolution, whatever that revolution may be. Right now, I will begin by casting a protection circle. So I ask you to return back the candles. And as I hold these candles, I once again think about the testimonies that I have read out. May their souls rest in peace, and may their souls remain in peace. I start this protection circle to conjure the spirit of the snake. And as I do that, I have a request. I would like you all to take in a deep breath in. And as you breathe out with a hissing sound, so and while you do this, imagine a snake. Whatever snake this may be in your mind's eye. What color is the snake? Is it brown like the sand? Is it colorful? Is it big? Is it a small snake? What sound does the snake make? Look into the snake's eye. Look into the snake's eye and think about how you're feeling right now around it. How are you feeling right now in this space, in your own mind's eye? Are you afraid of snakes? What do snakes symbolize to you? If you're afraid of snakes, can you get yourself to be at peace with them? To think about all of the ways they can offer us lessons about shedding the past, about letting go, about renewal, about change. The snake will be our spirit animal for today. The snake will be our spirit animal for today as we are guided through the fool's journey into political awakening and into the revolution. What does the scales of the snake look like? What color is the snake? In your mind's eye, imagine it. And you can slowly begin to open your eyes. You can slowly begin to open your eyes and get out of this state. I got this desert sand from Sharjah in the UAE, where I was born. I got it in a bottle and transported it all the way here to Dhaka. And it reminds me a lot of the dragon snake, which is a snake that exists within the desert there. It's a form of rattlesnake, it's a python, from what I remember. And it makes this incredible sound that resembles that of the rattlesnake, and its colors are exactly like the sand. It camouflages itself. This is the element of the earth, this Arabian desert sand. And here I will be bringing in the element of water. Water. What do you think about when you think about water? Is it gentle? Does it flow? Is it calm? What's the water energy like to you? This water specifically is adorned with rose petals, and it invokes memories to me about the times I would grow up around the sea in the United Arab Emirates, as well as in Cyprus, and it reminds me of its shores, the shores I could no longer access when I moved back to Palestine, and they remain a very big part of my memory. The rose petals remind me of the time I first had rose water. That was also in Cyprus. And rose petals generally symbolize protection. And as much as I'd like to think about water as a force for calm energy, as a force of transformation, water can also be powerful in ways where it can also take life. And so when we think about that, as I continue working and drawing this protection circle, I'd like you to think of this energy, of this power. Just as much as the desert sand is powerful, it is vast. It is said that it is a place where jinn resides because of its vastness. I would like you to think about the vastness of water and how powerful it can be. Finally, well, not finally, but the two elements, last but not least, fire and air. As I burn this incense, this bukhur, this oud that I got from the UAE, it reminds me of my aunt's house. It would always smell like oud. And in this foreign country, it makes me feel less alone. And so with the power of fire and air, the sand as well as water, I conjure the spirit of the snake in all of its forms. The desert snake, the water snake, and finally the dragon that blows out fire and flies in the air, if the dragons that you imagine fly. Air is also very versatile. Air transports information. And it has the ability to transform a room. As you can see, the smells that you are smelling right now is not just a nice smell. Incense has a lot of meaning. So as you smell this incense, think about what it means to you, where you remember it from. Was it a part of your daily life growing up? Or was it only used for rituals and particular practices? Adorned by the incense are spices that you are all pretty much familiar of. Cardamom for intuition, bay leaf for protection, and cinnamon for divine femininity. And as I conjure the spirit of the snake, I ask the cards another question. Which is, How can I take care of my community? How can I take care of my community as my community takes care of me when I am most afraid? When I am most afraid, when I think about how it is that I am complicit in injustice. Here we have the Ace of Pentacles. Its element is fire. So the Ace of Pentacles asked us to compromise when it comes to taking care of our community. Because taking care of our community also means taking care of ourselves. And when it comes to working with others, compromises are very important. And so that was the guidance from the Ace of Pentacles. I would like to now ask you all to come closer, to get up, and to have a walk around the space. Feel free to also take the balls and smell what's inside of them. Grab anything you want. And just have a look at the space. So just for a couple of minutes, you can grab the balls, you can smell them. So now that we are over the phase of me basically giving instructions and having the performance, I would like you all to engage in conversation with me as I slowly introduce you to everything that you have smelled and everything that you have touched. So I would like you to think about the first word that comes to mind when you think about what it is that you smelled.
Balsam.
Balsam. What else?
Warmth.
Warmth. That's nice. Anything else?
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
Period. It is breakfast. Has anyone gotten the chance to have a look at this table? Yeah? And smell what is there? So I'm going to start off with the tea. The tea was sourced, this is black tea. This is golden orange pekoe and broken orange pekoe. It is a blend of 4 types of tea from 4 different tea gardens from here. They were sourced by Michel Aziz Ahmed. I'm grateful to have the privilege to taste this tea all with you. And as we do that, I would like us to honor also the farmers who grow this tea, and to be mindful of what it is that we are consuming. So 2 of these teas have been sourced in the district of Mulvi Bazar, so in the Surma Valley, and 2 of them were produced in the Chittagong Hill Tract in the Chittagong area. And here I have with me, all the way from Palestine and from Vienna, it's migrated, is sage. If anyone heard of sage or tasted sage, sage is a very special plant to me. It was the first time I ever had it with black tea was at a relative's house of mine, back in Jordan. This is where we transitioned from moving from the UAE into Jordan and then into Palestine. And I thought, wow, this is the most beautiful thing I have ever had. Tea, sage in Arabic is called maramiyya or maryamiyya, which comes from the name Maryam, the mother of Jesus. And it is said that the first time Maryam smelled the tea and smelled the sage and tasted it, she blessed it because she said that it was so holy, that the smell of it was so holy. And that's where the word Meramiya or Maryamiya comes from. It comes from Mary, and that's what sage is called in Arabic. And so I will begin preparing this tea and also passing it on to all of you. As I tell you a bit about my story of moving, of displacement, of having to live my entire life as a migrant, first born in the United Arab Emirates and then moving to Cyprus. As I pour this tea, I am grateful. I say thank you to those who have grown it and to those who have sourced it. But anyways, back to the story. And actually the UAE was the first time I got into contact with Bangladeshi culture, funnily enough. As you know, modern slavery is a thing in the Gulf, and there are still a lot of Bangladeshi workers coming from all around to also work there. And I've had the privilege to also have friends from there who also taught me a lot about their foods, what they ate, and also the similarities between what it is that I grew up eating and what it is that, and now finding myself in Bangladesh again. Well, again, this is my first time ever, but still, I say again because there is this familiarity, this place that feels like home, exactly like how I feel about this sage tea. And I hope that when you try it, it evokes these emotions. It evokes these emotions, the same emotions that I had when I first tried it. Sage with black tea. The person that I first had it was called Babir. She's a relative, my mother's aunt. Allah yarhamha, she died early from Parkinson's disease, and I hope she's resting now. I never really met much of her expectations. She wanted me to get married, she wanted me to lose weight. Well, hello. None of that happened. And now, she's buried with my grandparents, with my grandfathers, her brothers, in Jordan, under an olive tree. And my grandfather specifically asked for an olive tree upon his death. We couldn't get him to Palestine due to bureaucracy. It was just hard to get his body laid in Palestine. So we decided to put him in a place that looked exactly like Nablus, where he came from. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't know if he appreciates it, but we really hope that he does. A part of me thinks that he specifically wanted to die in Jordan because his death came at a rush. He insisted on going there and he was like, it's going to just be for a few days. And the next thing you know, he's just dead there. And I think that was very intentional. It was an intentional choice. The last meal he had was a spread of hummus and so much Arabic food. And I think that death is, well, I think a part of us kind of knows when it is that we die, and if we're privileged enough, we get to make a choice on where to do it. You can either spread it around or take home. So yeah, Jordan and this aunt of mine were my first memories of Palestine. Funnily enough. The first thing that really caught my eyes when I came to Jordan for the first time was the trees. There were so many trees, and coming from a desert landscape, I just couldn't believe that things could be this green. Just coming from an industrialized big landscape. And when I was 12, that's when my parents packed up everything that was mine. They told me we would be fine, but newsflash, we were not. I had to inherit a lot of Palestinian trauma, but that's the story that will continue. And like I said, as I was doing the protection circle, I missed the sea a lot. Whoop. I missed the sea a lot. I'm from a mountain city, so I didn't have access to the sea much. And it felt like one of my childhood memories had to be taken away like that. Just this access. I used to see the sea from my balcony back in Palestine. It was like a little strip of water. And that's the only access that I got from it. And the reason for this is because I'm a green ID Palestinian. If anyone knows what that is or what that means, being a green ID Palestinian means a Palestinian who can only access the West Bank. So Gaza in 48, which is now known as Israel, is out of the question. And so I never really got a permit to see the sea or to see the ocean, because apparently you need a permit for that. But yeah, that was my life, and it was an interesting life, I have to say. Just growing up as a teenager in Palestine, you really don't know what it is that makes you angry. Your hormones or collective oppression. If anyone wants sugar, hold that thought. I'm going to get some sugar. Maybe you can pass it around. Did everyone get tea? You didn't get tea, you didn't get tea. Alright. So I know this is taking a while, but I did promise. I did say that this was going to be a very long story. And this is what you all are getting. But I hope that the tea in between. So what do you all think? Does anyone want to share what this smells like, what this feels like?
Intense.
Intense?
Yeah, interesting.
How's the sage?
I can't smell the sage.
I can't smell the sage.
The smell of the black seed is so strong. No?
I'm sorry.
You can smell the sage.
Mhm.
You smell the sage inside you. It feels just as beautiful and healing. So it's good to put it inside the body.
Nice. Did you get tea? Nice. And now moving on to the final part. Yay, finally, better than that. And the final part is going to be about everything that you all smelled here. And after I finish explaining everything that's on the spread, I ask you to come here and to also feel free to taste what it is that sounds or looked most interesting to you. So I'm going to start off with the story of Za'atar. Has anyone heard of Za'atar?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Nice. So not completely unfamiliar. And Za'atar is thyme, and here I have sourced from Palestine dried thyme. If you smell it, it's very pungent as well. Usually you can also taste it, it's very spicy. It's a very specific strain of thyme. And Za'atar has been banned from being foraged by the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority in 1970. So actually picking Za'atar is banned for Palestinians. They can't do it, so usually they do it illegally, whatever the law means to you. And it's prohibited to pick, but people are still making a market out of it. So this is Za'atar the plant. Za'atar as a spice mix is eaten for breakfast, like you said, usually for breakfast, but also for dinner. It's a very versatile spice mix. It's made out of salt, sesame, sumac, which is the red stuff that I bought with me here. Sumac is a type of flower that grows and it's very red and it's extracted, and it's very, very sour. So you can also have this with bread and olive oil. So Za'atar is made out of sesame, salt, thyme, and sumac, or sumac. And it has actually been sold and distributed by a lot of kibbutzim. Kibbutzim are very specific, like places in Jewish settlements in Palestine, where they are also sold and rebranded as an Arab product. So they say it's made in Palestine, they sell it to a lot of Arab countries, but actually they're made in kibbutzim or Israeli settlements. And this is just a process of how it is that Israel continues to colonize not only land, but food. And how food is a very integral part of, how land is even an integral part of food. So, and this here is something very special that I got today. I placed it with the sand to confuse you, because it looks like sand, but it's not. This is called du'a, and it's a specialty that comes only from Gaza. It's made out of wheat, lentils, dill seeds, coriander seeds, salt, chili, and a few other ingredients I can't remember right now. I made this at home since I could not source any du'a from Gaza, but I tried to replicate it as authentically as possible. And this is eaten the same way. So you take a piece of bread with olive oil and some du'a or some za'atar. Still good. And that's pretty much it. I bought here za'atar and du'a in order to also just give you a bit of a piece of home with me, since I'm also away. And as much as I love Bangladeshi food, y'all, the past couple of days I'm like, damn, I really just can't wait for the performance to happen so I can have some olive oil. I really miss the za'atar. It's a staple in every single Palestinian household. So once again, I would like to invite you in, since I can't distribute the bread, and just have the bread with olive oil. There's 3 bowls of olive oil. They're liquid, so you can see them. and try out the different spices. The sumac is very sour. The za'atar you will have, it's a very specific taste. And the do'a. And with that, I will close this ritual and I will invite you all to conversation and to ask me questions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you want more tea, there's more tea as well. It's good to wash off the bread.
Yeah.